because it's starting with saying testing your broadcast, but once I like look through the video afterwards, then it always starts a little bit earlier than what I think it's gonna do. And that's why I think, was it in the last one where people could hear some Danish? I think it's ready now. Are you guys with us? Can you hear us? How is the sound? Is it too loud? Because we have a feeling that the microphone might be like way too sensitive right now. So please tell us how everything is sounding right now. Oh, well, my mom is in the chat. Hej mor. Hyggeligt du kunne være med.
Hej.
Hej Irfan Malik.
Hejsa.
Hejsa.
Yeah. It's not often that we see. Usually when people say hi, they have translated it through in like when they greet us in Danish, it's usually because they have translated it through
Google Translate or something. Yeah.
and I don't think Heisa is something you would get from a translator. So I just think it's a little bit funny.
Yeah. Maybe he's done his research. But hey, all right. It seems like the sound is coming through pretty all right. Okay.
That's mine. Yeah.
All right. You just needed some notes. Kat was doing something with the computer. I just had no idea what was going on. Either way, hi and welcome to our live stream here, talking about travels or traveling, which is something we can't really do in these Corona times at all. So we thought, why not just talk a little bit about traveling, like where have we been, where do we want to go, maybe you guys have some questions, or you want to tell us about some places that you think we should go or visit, or maybe like a great experience you've had traveling. And you're of course always welcome to just throw in a comment in the chat. But if you want to make sure that we get to your question, and if you want to kind of dictate the conversation a little bit, then you can submit a question or a comment through Streamlabs. The link is down in the description. So just follow that link, and it will tell you what to do.
Did it help a little bit with sound there?
How is it now? Just waiting a little bit to see if the pitch is too high.
Hi, Jimmy.
But I think it seems like it's all right.
Can we please get a confirmation on the mic? Anyone?
I don't know why it's like making a fuss right now, because usually it's pretty good. Better. All right.
Please tell us if it's still bad, because I just found out that you can actually change not the pitch, but at least you can
change the volume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
The thing that is measured in decibel. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, and we actually do have, before we get to our prepared notes and everything, we do have a Streamlabs question already submitted to us by Irfan Malik. And he's asking, do you prefer to visit hot or cold countries? And that is, that's a good question. And to me at least, it totally depends on like what type of trip or what I'm looking for, because I really enjoy going to some warm places, hot vacations, and I enjoy the cold ones as well, as long as I can throw on some skis. And that's yeah.
Which way is down on the gain? This way?
Still some pitching, but volume is better. Okay, let's turn it down a little bit more.
Please tell us if we need to shout then.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
we know there's a delay as well, and that's what makes it a little bit hard to do like try to fix stuff on the fly, on the go. But we'll make do. So, but yeah, what about you? Hot or cold?
it really depends, because of course I really love going skiing, but I am so cold all the time that I think, yeah, if I'm not going skiing, I prefer hot or temperate.
Yeah,
around 20, 25 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much that is in 70 degrees in Fahrenheit, something like that.
Not
maybe.
quite. I don't know either.
It's like you have to plus 32 or something, and then you have to. I don't know. Oh, you have to times the Celsius with 1.8, I think, and then add 30 something degrees. And thank you for the appreciation of my makeup. It was there is this girl, I think, this woman called Guadalupe, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, and if you're there. But she was a little bit sad that I didn't wear that much makeup. A couple of there you are. Hi. Yeah, she was a little bit sad that I didn't have that much makeup on once. And then I was just like, okay, fine, I'll do this one for you.
yeah. Do an extra effort. But yeah, I can only imagine like how it is. Like if every time you have to do something and getting ready for something, then
no, I think it's
maybe
funny.
feeling the need to. No, I know you enjoy it. It's just you could also maybe yeah. Of course, you can get into the whole cultural thing about some people thinking that women have to wear makeup at all times if they're going out. And yeah, let's not get into that. We're talking about travels and not culturally. Like cultural issues and stuff.
Yeah. So well, I prefer warm if not going skiing, because yeah, as I said, I am always cold, and well, there's one exception though, and that is Iceland, because it's one of my favorite places on earth. So Iceland is like the only place that I would ever travel to with no hesitation, like cold countries. So yeah, that's that. I just wanted to say before we really get into this that today is a very special day for Sonny and I, because it's actually precisely 5 years since we met each other the first time.
Yeah, it is.
So it's just it's funny.
It is funny, and like meeting each other 5 years ago to the day, and we pretty much haven't been spending time apart ever since. Even like at dating at first, we saw each other pretty much every day, or at least like multiple times a week. And then there was 1 week or something, or 2 weeks where I didn't see you. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks, and that was unbearable. So that let me know that, well, this is if I can't stand to be away from her, then this is probably the one, and it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point it out, because it's a very special day.
Yeah.
It's not our anniversary, but it's like 5 years since we actually met each other.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and I've just now that we are talking about updates, this is not relating to the 5 years, but I just saw someone mentioned that hopefully that I feel better now after watching the Clone Wars episode, and I'm not too shooketh. And I just like a quick comment on that. I don't know if you noticed, I put up the latest Clone Wars reaction, and it got blocked immediately, which is that sucked, and something I hadn't really tried before with the Clone Wars stuff. So I had to do some quick editing again and remove some of the sound or some of the audio, and then pitch the background audio, and it all went a little fast, and I made some mistakes, but it's out now, hopefully, and it's gonna stay out, and then keep being available to you guys, so that you can see me sit there and get very shooketh and maybe shed a tear or two. But almost knocked over some water there. That
Yeah,
shouldn't do that around
Computers, no.
computers and electricity and everything. All right, we do have another Streamlabs question from Eric. What is your travel bucket list? P.S. Love you guys and your channel. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much. Yeah, love
That's
you too.
very early to start with a bucket list, but let's do it.
Yeah, let's get into it. We do have some, like, we can get into, like, the really big ones that we know that both of us want to, visit. And we had the chance to cross off at least one of the big ones earlier this year, but then everything happened with the corona and the travel bans and the, lockdowns. Shit. So, but I'll let you take that one.
My number one place, and I think somebody else also mentioned, like, what's our number one destination? For me, it's Japan, and it has always been since I was, I don't know, 15 years old or something. So for a long time, and when I was a kid, it was China, but now it's more Japan. So, like East Asia. I would also love to go to South Korea and. But yeah, Japan is definitely my number one go-to destination.
Yes, and we will get the chance again to go there someday. We have to. Yes, as soon as we can, pretty much. We're gonna try to maybe arrange a trip that's kind of like the one that we lost. But yeah, hopefully very, very soon.
Yeah, of course. It's gonna be hard for us, especially now with the flight tickets. The price of the flight tickets are gonna rise a lot. So it's gonna be a little bit hard for us to get there, but we will make it work.
We'll see what
and
happens.
Because this is like Japan is like, it's not even travel bucket list. It's like number one on my bucket list. It's not even that long. I have like 3 items left or something on my bucket list, and this one is just on. It's just when I've been to Japan, I can die happy. I mean.
Yeah, but please don't. But
no. But yeah.
I know what you mean. And yeah, for me as well, like Japan is very, very high up there, and it has gotten like progressively higher after I met you, and you kind of not made me fall in love with Japanese culture, but you at least showed me some more and made me aware of some stuff, and that, like, of course I want to go as soon as humanly possible. But I think one of the really big ones for me was, like, when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to the States because I've always been a little bit of a movie geek, and I love pop culture, and a lot of that stuff, of course, comes from the States, and it comes from Hollywood. So that's where I wanted to go. But now I've done that several times actually, and then the big one is probably Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
That part of the world. Yeah, I would freaking love to go, and especially also because I've gotten acquainted with a lot of people from Australia and New Zealand on my travels, and yeah, so I want to go there. I want to visit them, and I want to see what everything is about down there, and experience everything, meet the people, and spend time with the people, because everyone I've met from Australia and New Zealand have just been like great and really fun, loving people. So yeah. And yeah, I think those are the, like, the big bucket list countries for us, at least right now at the moment. So hopefully very soon we'll get to go. But shall we get into some of the stuff that we have prepared, maybe, or some of the notes there?
Yes, we can do that.
They definitely.
I just saw that Eric was scared to travel abroad. So why is that? Personally, I'm not very good with like dangerous animals and flying. Is it something to do with that? Like, you have some sort of phobia for something? Or is it something that's just like you're very scared of meeting other cultures or something like that? But hey, Solo Aster. Okay, yeah, let's just do it. Should we start with like where we went as small kids? We're doing this where we had like a kid and teenager.
Yeah.
and then-
We've kind of been doing that with all the other live streams and every other subject that we've talked about. We kind of been going back to when we were kids and then teenagers and 20s and everything. So yeah, let's go back to where did we go or where did we travel back when we were kids. Obviously we didn't go anywhere together because we didn't know each other back then. But yeah, do you want to start with that?
You can also start.
I can also start. Yeah, sure. Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was younger, and I'm sure that my mom can correct me. I know that she's in the chat if there's something I forget. But like some of my earliest like travel memories were us going to like some of the Greek islands, for example. I went to Turkey with my father, and you know tried. Some adventure stuff at an early age, you know, or what he could, you know, bring me along, because when I was still very young, I was a kid. So it was mainly like, you know, going warm places, warm countries, and as I said, like in the southern part of Europe, Greece and stuff like that. I'm sure that when I was a kid, we also went to maybe like Malmö, like the part of Sweden that's closest to Denmark, maybe also Germany. I'm not quite sure. It wasn't really until I got a little bit older that I started traveling a lot, or my parents started taking me taking me on travels and everything. I can see my dad is in the chat as well, and he's saying paragliding. Yes, that's what we did in Turkey. Me and my father, and I actually remember very vividly just you know being. It was one of those types where you are gliding and you're being pulled after a motorized boat or a motorboat, and of course I had to. Use my imagination and my and had to like relate it to some sort of geekiness. So I was of course Batman, and my father he was Robin. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but at least we were Batman and Robin, and we were pursuing the Penguin who was in the boat. So that's a very vivid memory for me. But yeah, that's. Some of the places that I went as a kid, and I can see my mom. She's saying Cyprus. That's one of the places that we went. One of the islands. Yeah. What about you?
I went on a yearly ski trip to Norway. So I've been in Norway a lot, and I think right up until my 21 years old. I think it was the last one.
Yeah.
And I've also been skiing in Sweden a couple of times, but I think I've been very small at that point, because I always said I thought that when we were going skiing at the mountain, like what's it called, alpine,
downhill ski.
Downhill skis. When I thought that was going to Sweden, so I really loved going downhill, downhill skiing, and I thought it was going to Sweden, so I was always there in my boots saying, I want to go to Sweden! And then it was not really Sweden. It was just... but I have been to Sweden skiing, and I have probably been canoeing in Sweden as a very small kid as well. I've been to Germany many times. I have family in Germany, so we have been there quite a lot of times, really. And then I think one of the first bigger trips I remember is when we went to the Netherlands, just to experience Amsterdam. I think we were there, and we were also at like outside on the countryside as well, and eating a lot of cheese, like Gouda, and then the year after that we went to Poland. I have very fond memories of Poland, but it was a very kind of, well, again, I was small, so it's very hard to remember everything we did or what we went to see. But I remember being, I think we were close to Warszawa, and I it felt so. I don't know. It felt so.
Can I just really real quickly, Dad? It's not because I have forgotten about our travels together. Don't worry, I will get to it. I was just talking about like when I was a real small kid, and I didn't want to get into this, but when you and Mom were still together, those were the travels I was talking about first, and then I'm gonna talk about the stuff we did afterwards together, because we did a lot. I know, and I will never forget that. So please don't think that, please. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I remember the city being kind of dull and grey and very city-like somehow, and it felt kind of. And I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure it's just the way that I remembered it, but it felt kind of like slum somehow, or like a bit of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt so. It felt tough, you know. And when we went to the countryside, it was so bright and the colors were amazing and it was so warm and like it was a bit like going back in time because it was a lot like Danish kind of feeling.
Yeah, it's
Danish
quite
countryside.
similar looking.
The countryside is quite similar and so beautifully. Once again, very bright and vibrant in colors and so beautiful. And they had like, what's it, stalks? Is that what they're called? Are they called stalks in English?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Those wide, tall, with long beaks and long legs. I think it's called a stalk, as well.
Yeah, stalks.
Yeah, they still had stalks, and that was amazing. And that's just how I remember. It was very idyllic. Yeah. And then we went to Belgium and Luxembourg, and I also have very much fond memories of that because all of these, and somebody else asked whether we like old history and old ruins and historical buildings and stuff, and I am obsessed with stuff like that. And I remember we went to these old Arden
ruins.
Ruin, like there were old castle cities, like small cities around castles and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just it was really amazing. It was almost being taken back to the medieval times almost, and a lot of crepes and milkshakes. And then we went to England and Wales. That was also very nice and lovely, and it was the first time I ever took the flight somewhere. Took a plane, and it was just amazing. And I would love to go.
What age was that? First time on a plane?
It was in 5th grade, I think. No, I think I was 10. 9 or 10. I was 10.
Okay, but then younger than 5th grade, definitely.
I can't remember precisely when it was. No. But I was, that was the first time. I have been 10. I was 10 at that point. And then we went to Austria. Yes. And then Munich. And yes, and that was that was it for my kid years.
Yeah.
That was also very interesting. I think we went to Salzburg. Yeah. It was that was cool because we went to like mines and stuff, like old salt mines and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah, interesting. Very cool. I think I just want to mention real quick, Kat is she has a way better memory than me when it comes to most stuff. So I'm probably going to be jumping around a bit more and forgetting stuff and then getting back to it. And just so you know, it's going to be a little not as linear as some of Kat's stuff. But yeah. When I got a little bit older, still a kid, I did do a fair bit of traveling with my father, and one of the places we got to go first, that was Thailand, backpacking in Thailand for 3 whole weeks when I was like 10 or 11 years old. I think it was 10, and so we experienced a fair bit of Thailand and around Bangkok, and went to some of the islands. I can't exactly remember their names, but on one of them, we took our diver's license with the tanks and everything, and that was I think they had just passed like a law or something, like pretty much just before we got there, that kids down to the age of 10 could take diver's license there. So I was pretty lucky, and I think one of the first kids they did that with. It was really interesting, and just being away from home for so long. I remember that was first time I ever did that, but thankfully I had my father with me, of course, so he was there to protect me and everything. But as I said, it was more or less a backpack travel experience, so we didn't really plan anything ahead, which is fairly typical for me and my father when we go traveling. We don't make too many plans. We like to just buy the tickets and then get there, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do and what we want to do, just one day at a time, pretty much. And just not that long after going to Thailand, my dad, he just really got bit by a crazy travel bug, and then he took me to the States, and I got to experience Disney World in Orlando, Florida, which was huge experience for me at such an early age. And just I knew about Disney World and everything, of course, but just being there and experiencing the culture, and then just going to the States for the first time. And then we also went to I think it was on that trip as well, or maybe it was another one, maybe I'm just combining some trips, but we also went to Colorado to meet up with a friend of my father's from the military, and that's he's still a friend of the family and everything. And I just remember going there and then getting even more introduced to the culture there, and getting to go skiing at Breckenridge, I think it was called, not that far away from Denver, that was a crazy experience as well, going from Denver, where it was pretty warm and tempered, and then just driving up the mountains, and then all of a sudden there's snow all over the place, and you can actually go skiing, which the height differences and everything, and that's especially like for us being from Denmark, it's not something we're used to, because Denmark is such a flat country, so there's like barely any hills or anything, so just that was interesting for me to experience that at an early age, I think, and just in general, that's where I really started skiing a lot with my father once again, and we pretty much went skiing at least once a year from that, from when I was 11 or 12 or something. We've just gone skiing every year, and did that well up in my into my 20s. Then I love skiing, and I'll get more into that a little bit later on. We both love skiing. We both love going on ski trips and everything. We'll definitely get more into that. But that was when I really started traveling a lot and getting to experience the world and different cultures with my father. That was real nice. So very fond memories. Yeah, do you want to continue?
Then I turned 13, 14, something like that. And then I went to Italy with my parents and my sister. My brother stopped traveling with us when we went to Poland, I think was the first time. So when we were 9. I was 9, so he stopped following along because he's a little bit older than us. And so we went to Italy, and we went to Milano at first for a couple of days, and I really love that town. It's like the Il Duomo is just it's one of my favorite buildings, like humanly built buildings in the whole world. And then we went to Florence, it's called in English, and a little bit north of that, at the countryside, a small stone house up in the hills in Tuscany, and it was just such an amazing experience. My parents learned Italian, I think 1 year or a couple of years prior to that. And I just fell in love with Italy right then and there. It's one of my favorite countries in the whole world. And then we went to the beach. We went beach? On the west, the other way. Yeah, west side of Italy, and went and went to the what's it called? The beach for I think a day or two, and then we went to one of the big lakes before we went home. So we were there, and we were there for one night, and that one night it was like the worst thunderstorm I've ever experienced, and it was right above us. Yeah, and it was right. You know how lightning tends to strike around water a lot. And we were just very close to the one of the big lakes. I can't remember if it was Lago di Garda or Lago di Como, but it was one of those big lakes. And we were there when it was like I think it was like a heat record at that point. It was very hot, so it was just a teeny tiny bit too much for me. But it was really love Italy, and it's definitely, especially, and you know this, I'm very food obsessed, and Italy is just one of my favorite cuisines of all time.
Yeah,
and
the Italian
just
cuisine, yeah.
Me eating pizza and pasta, and it's just all the way through, it's just amazing. So that was just and it was one of my best trips ever, I think. It was amazing, and once again I can't stop saying amazing because it was really fantastic. And I saw fireflies, and that was not something I've done before. So
your memory is just, it amazes me every time that you can remember so many details from like travels, like, or just from that many. I can barely remember what I did yesterday, and just let alone like stuff that I did years and years and years ago. So yeah, sorry, I'm just impressed with her ability to remember details and where they went and when and where and in what order. That's amazing. Do you have more?
For the teenager stuff?
Yeah.
Then I grew a little bit older, and we went... that was when I started to travel with other people than my family. And I went with I was in 8th grade, and we went to Prague for the first time. And since then I have been 3 times during I was at 14. No, I was at 15. I was there, and then at what was that? 2 years later, so at 15, 17, and 20 with my mom and sister. So I've been to Prague a lot of times. We went to very shortly. Of course, we went to not Auschwitz, but the other one of the concentration camps, like the old ones. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the big famous one. And then we went to Prague, and everything was great. And we went to Italy once again with my boarding school. And the year after we went to Prague, but in Italy I went somewhere else this time. I went to something called Mantova, and I went to Verona and Venezia. Venice? Yeah, it's called Venice. And Venezia was a great... Well,
You can say the Italian. I'm sure people get what you mean.
Yeah. So Venezia was a very specific... It was an experience, and it's a very beautiful city, but it's so crowded, and there's so many people and so many pigeons. Like, so many pigeons.
Rats with wings.
Yeah. And so that was a great experience, but we actually did this when we went out to one of the Italian families, and we ate there. Like, we were invited for dinner. And I remember having this feast. And the Italians, I don't know if all Italians are doing this, but they do this one thing where they have like small meals, like it could be a certain potato arrangement or something like that. And I think we went to eat 7 different small meals during this feast, and we ended up with like a homemade tiramisu. Oh, that was so great. Well, everything was homemade, but this was just, usually you get tiramisu from someone who made it for you, but it was just great. And then we ended everything off with a cup of Java coffee, like a very, very nicely made espresso. And once again, Italian food is just right up my alley.
Food, Italian coffee, and for me, Italian wine.
Yeah. And ice cream, Italian ice cream. I mean, it's the best.
Of course.
I'm sorry, but I'm always talking about food, but please get that I really love food. Me and my 7 stomachs love food. So yeah, that was great, and Italy has been very nice for me, even though they're they have a different mindset than Scandinavians. I think they're much more vocal, I'd say.
Yeah, and maybe also more passionate in a certain sense. They can seem very passionate, or people from the southern parts of Europe, the warmer areas, they can be a bit more hot-blooded and passionate about stuff, or it can seem like that. And I hope I'm not offending anyone by saying that. I think it can be a very, very alluring quality.
Yeah, and yes, it's gelato. Yeah.
Gelato. Yes. All right. That was your teenager. Oh wait, you still have.
The last, because when we started getting a little bit older, my parents kind of stopped bringing us along and just went by themselves. Of course, I'm very bitter about that because I love traveling as well. But at least we went to Bulgaria once with my mom's sister and that side of the family. And so I also experienced that. Unfortunately, I went there a couple days afterwards, so I didn't get to experience some of the great stuff. They went a little bit south in the country, I think they did, into the caves, and there were some nice forests and stuff, and it was they had all the fun experiences. And then they went to the is it called the Black Sea? Sort of.
Yeah, I think it is.
Is it called the Black Sea? But that big
body of water.
Big body of water, yeah. And we went to the beach, and we just hang around there like a classical beach. I don't know what it's called, but like when you basically just lie at a pool or at the beach for a week or something like that. But we did go to Nasba, and that was quite an amazing experience as well, because this is a tiny town outside in the water, and it's basically like a small, not like a semi-island. I don't know what's it called, but yeah. And it's like a very old city, and it was amazing because I'm dying for this kind of stuff. So I've also been to that kind of like beachy vacations, but it's definitely not something. It's definitely not something that I prefer. I prefer like experiences. I prefer to see old buildings and have a lot of this old culture and this old historical things. And
Yeah, you like to go exploring when you go to another country, and you want to soak up as much of the local culture and everything
And nature as well.
as you possibly can. Yeah. And I think we're both like in the same way, that we do like exploring a lot, and just
Thank
the
God for
kinds
that.
of trips where you just lay at the pool or at the beach like all day and don't really do anything. You just eat and sunbathe and swim a little bit, and yeah, it can be nice for a few days maybe, just to totally just relax, but then I do get the like, I want to go do something, I want to go see something at some point. Yeah, and and my mom, she agrees that yes, Kat, she loves food, and it's great. Yeah, all right. So you went through your teenage years there.
Yep.
Bulgaria. That was the last one. Yeah. And for me, yeah, my teenage years, that was like even more skiing, thankfully. And once my father, he met his current wife and her two daughters. We also started going on some vacations together, then to some like warmer places again, and also took them skiing. So we've been like several different places in France and Austria and Italy. Not Sweden or Norway too much. We usually went to the Alps just because there was just they were just bigger. there were more to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just really got into that a lot, and then as I got older and I started going on vacations with my friends as well, and that was mainly like ski vacations, once again at first, with the school. We would go and there was even one year where I helped arrange one of these trips to I think that was France. We usually, most of the time, we went to France or France or Austria or something, I think like that. Val Thorens, if you heard about it, maybe you have. It's a very big place. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. It's just
You're moving stuff around.
yeah.
It's okay. So yeah, lots of skiing, and I even got to go like island hopping, or like what you can call it that, in Greece. Greece again, and this time with my friends, and we went for one of the trips that was for like 3 weeks, where we went to different islands and everything, and of course we were young and stupid, and we just wanted to go and party and get drunk and all of that stuff that you want to do once you hit a certain age, or like a lot of people want to do once they hit a certain age. Can you all hear that Kat is pouring tea?
I'm trying not to be loud about it.
It's okay. Yeah, so that was like a lot of my teenage years, going to all sorts of different like destinations, ski destinations, and skiing a lot, and everything there with my family and friends. So yeah. My memory is so bad. I hate that I'm not able to be like, then I went to that country and then I did that, and I remember, like, yeah, I feel a little bit bad about not really being able to remember a lot of stuff, and not being able to say anything else than, and in that period I traveled and I went skiing. It's just, that's very broad, but
It's very hard to say. I mean, it's very hard to say. I went there and I went skiing, because you didn't really do much else. You can't really talk about what you saw or what you.
Yeah, and then it's also difficult for me to remember, like, at what age, like, what stuff happened and everything. So I'll get into some more stuff that happened like a little bit more recently, and then I can remember that a little bit better. Yeah. So, but I think I'm just gonna pass the ball to you again.
Yes.
And,
Okay.
yeah.
no milk in my tea. It's
I think that's a very British thing.
I don't know. It's just no. It's not Earl Grey as well. I'm sorry. I'm very not a tea person. So I drink herbal tea, and I drink a lot of different herbal tea. But I drink herbal tea because I don't like having caffeine in my tea.
And yeah, I know my dad is saying I could have helped you out on places and names and stuff you did. And yeah, my mom is saying also that when I was ninth grade, she and I we went to, was that when we went to, no, not Egypt, or was it Turkey at that time, Mom? Yeah, see, I should have consulted them before doing this video. So maybe I'll have to do I'll redo it at some point, because this is a bit of a failure on my part. Very sorry, guys. I'm not prepared at all. So yeah, I'm just gonna let Kat take it from here.
I just wanted to dive into some of you. Someone is asking whether we are like the super structural person that plans everything, or we like more like a spontaneous person. And I think I can easily say that, Sonny, you're definitely more like the spontaneous person, and I like to have not everything, but most things just written in stone before I go, because I need to know where to go at what point in time. Like, where do we how do we get there, and do we have a place to sleep? Are we getting around? And sometimes also, what are we going to see at the different, in different places? So I'm definitely more like the planner. And
you have pretty much planned our Japan trip down to every minute detail and everything. So yeah, that's something that you're good at, and that I'm pretty much just along for the ride. I did make some plans for when we were supposed to be in LA, but that didn't go through either.
No. Okay, so we're nearing my 20s, our 20s, and I went to Stockholm. I was just done with high school, and I just thought I wanted something to happen, so I went all by myself, and I will never do this again. I went all by myself. I went to Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, for those of you who might not know it, and that was really great, and I really loved it. I think I have a soft spot for Sweden. I really do. But yeah, I went to Stockholm, and it was amazing, and I would love to take Sonny at some point, because I think he might like it. It's definitely, we have to go in summertime, because it's like really cold, I think, and
yeah, I would love to go to Stockholm as well, and I know some people from Stockholm whom I would love to visit. So yeah.
Yeah, and we can. The good thing about Stockholm is that you can actually take a train directly from the central station here in Copenhagen. You can actually take a train that takes you directly to Stockholm in like 6 hours or something. So that's absolutely great, because train is one of my preferred methods of transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love that. I would love to take you to Stockholm, because I had such a great experience. I just wish I had someone to share it with. And that was the lesson I learned at that point, that I should not go anywhere without anyone to share it with. So that was a bit of a revelation for me.
Yeah.
And I went, and then I went to Iceland with my family. And it was amazing. We went the first time around, we went to like the classical southwest of Iceland, so very close to the Reykjavik area, like the Golden Circle and stuff. We saw all the classical touristy things, and that was great. I really like Iceland. I would love to go there again. And then we actually went a couple years back when we went all the way around Iceland. Once again with my family, but this time without my sister. And some of my family's friends. That was amazing. Do you remember?
That I do remember.
Okay, great.
That I do remember.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't remember exactly like where we went and where, but and the names of everything. But I have a lot of memories from that still stick to.
Yeah. So maybe I don't have much to say. We can just talk about it afterwards. But so that's we went all the way around like the main road all around Iceland, and we didn't spend as much time in the northwest part of Iceland. It was more in northeast and southwest, and a little bit about like the southern coast. Because my dad went to like 1 year, he went to work abroad as I don't even know, like a consultant almost. So he went to Iceland for a year and worked there, and so he took us places, and he knows a lot of stuff, and has also been there a couple times after that as a guide, like a travel guide.
Yeah.
And that was great because he showed us all these amazing places. We saw I'm not going into that, but that was the way we went. And then when I started at the university, I went to my first skiing trip in the Alps in France, actually. And that was great. I don't remember a lot. And
that's maybe because of beverages.
It was fun. I remember that. It was just basically one long trip of having fun.
Yes, that's how I remember or don't remember a lot of my like travels to with friends and everything to like going skiing and going to France and Greece, as I mentioned, and everything. That's probably a lot of partying and alcohol and crazy stuff involved that kind of makes me forget some of it, or maybe just try to block it out. I don't know.
It could be one of the two. Yeah.
We've all done some stupid stuff.
Not our proudest moments, no.
Yeah.
And we also went to France once with your family.
Yes. Skiing once again. Yeah.
Skiing.
Of course. So yeah, that we've done that together as well.
Yeah, and then basically we've done the rest together actually. So maybe you should just say what you.
Yeah, well, I have a big one that I do thankfully remember it very vividly, and that I once I was done with school, and before I started university, I kinda at first I've always, since I was a small kid, I've always wanted to be an actor, and that was still the plan at that point, that I was gonna, after school, high school, everything, gymnasium as it's called here in Denmark, that I was gonna, apply to the theater school here in Copenhagen or in Denmark. And I just, I tried doing that, and I tried applying to some other stuff, university, some university stuff that had to do with like film and media, but it was just impossible to get in, and I got really like, I totally lost my motivation, so I had to do something completely different, and that is when I decided to go on a working holiday trip, and that's how it started, at least. And I got in contact with this working holiday thing through a travel company agency called Kilroy, and then I just went to Canada by myself for almost a year. All by myself, went there, and I remember very vividly like getting to the airport at first and just stepping out and being like, holy shit, I'm alone in a foreign country. I have no one around me that I know or that can help me if I'm in trouble, and I have everything. And so that was just, I remember just stepping out of the airport and being a little bit like, oh fuck, just the small breakdown. But I found a cab and I made my way to the hostel that I was supposed to stay at, and had a very early. I turned it in very early that night. I think I just sat at the bar for like half an hour or something. Had a burger, some fries, one beer, and then I went up and just went straight to bed. Got up the next day, and then it really started. That's when I started, meeting people and talking to some, for me at that time, strangers. And I had to go out and figure out, okay, so how do I get like a cell phone number? How do I get like a bank account? But at least we had help with that, and I got to go out with a bunch of people, and some of them I still talk to today, or they're still my friends today, and one of them in particular you may have seen in some of our videos. It's Nathan from Australia. We've had like Nathan and Melissa. They were in our reaction to Game of Thrones, The Long Night video, one of the first we did. So yeah, that's where I met them, and then we were in Vancouver there, and that's just where I met a lot of people, and then we found out that we were going to the same destinations afterward, and started working at a place called Silver Star in Canada, and it's all in British Columbia. And yeah, that's where we lived, and that's where we worked, up on the mountain in Silver Star. It's like a small resort, but very, very cozy and very colorful, and so great place. I can really recommend it if you ever get the chance to go there, and just Canada and British Columbia in general. And I really want to take Kat someday, and I want to show her like the places where I went and where I lived for a little while, and everything. It was really great, and I even got the job. I got offered a job as a ski instructor because I was fairly good at skiing, or that's what I told them, and they and they believed me. And at that point I had also done a fair bit of teaching in the years before I started traveling, and like between schools and travels I worked as a substitute teacher for a while, which was a really good job. So I got the job as a ski instructor, which that was very surreal to have a job where you just get paid to go skiing with, and I was teaching mainly kids, and that was just such a rewarding experience, and some of these kids, huge impression on me, and I apparently they really liked me as well. Like I remember being called up one day where I wasn't supposed to come into work, but there were these like twin girls who they wouldn't go skiing with anyone but me, so they had to call me in that day. That was really sweet, and I even got the what do you call it? Employee of the month at one point. So yeah, that trip, if you can call it that, to Canada, and then living there and working there, and then also like when the season was done, I still did a little bit of traveling, and I also went to the States afterwards, and went some places with my family who also came and visited, and it was just it did a lot for me and my personal growth, going on that whole journey. And it just taught me a lot about myself and my boundaries, and everything really. And I do miss it. And there were also times where it wasn't always like the best, and it wasn't always great, and I had some missteps here and there, But that's life. That's life, exactly. That's just as that was what I was about to say. Like I wouldn't do anything different, because I learned a lot from that experience, and being on my own for an extended period of time. I of course still had like, if I ever were in like really deep trouble, and I could of course then just call my father or my mother and be like, help. But thankfully that did not happen. So that's my big one. That's the one that really molded me as a person, or it was all that and a lot of other stuff, but it was it did a lot for me and my personal growth, and I miss it. So I really want to go back at some point, and as I said, I want to bring Kat. But
I am really scared of dangerous animals, and Canada have so many of those, and Australia have so many of those.
I made the huge mistake of I'll get into that. My dad just reminded me of something. I made the huge mistake of telling Kat about some of the animals that were in and around the area where I worked. Not that anything happened at all. It was just one sighting of a cougar, and someone mentioned a bear that was hibernating close by, and I think that was apparently enough for Kat to go like, then I'm not quite sure I want to go there, but we'll I'm sure we'll get to it. And the thing that
mooses, like mooses, like
mooses. Those as well. But as long as you don't, try and provoke them, then it should all be all right. The thing that my father just reminded me about was another incident in Canada. In the apartment I was staying in, I was trying to make like a whole Christmas dinner thing, and I was trying to do like a Danish Christmas. I was trying to do like a Danish Christmas dinner thing, and because I wanted to introduce some of the people from Australia and everywhere else to the Danish Christmas food, and so I started doing that, and then the fire alarm just went off, and I just couldn't get it to shut up. It just went on, and I tried calling my father, and there was smoke everywhere, and I was trying to shut off the alarm and talking to them while doing it and standing on a chair, and I just what I ended up doing was just grabbing the thing and just yoink, just shut up. Because that was a fun little whoopsie-doo in the apartment at Silver Star.
I just forgot to say that I've been to London like 3 times. First time on a with high school, like a studying trip, and that was actually very cool because we went to the Globe. I don't know if I told you this, but I went to a musical kind of high school that was very music specific, or music and drama theater. So we went to the Globe in London, and actually had like a session with one of the actors there, and it was amazing. So I just wanted to say that I've been there before, and I've actually been to the Globe where we actually had an actor teach us some like improvisation things and small training things. It was so funny. And I've been a couple times after that because my best friend currently lives in London, and so I've been over there and visiting her, and hopefully I can go visit her soon, because I've been promising her that for like 3 years or something.
We'll get the chance at some point to go there, definitely. And another one of our like travels that we went on together that I think we can talk about a little bit. That's the one where we went to California and Nevada together.
Already?
Oh, we can wait a little bit. Let's just wait. Okay.
Do you have anything else that you did on your own?
Maybe, if I remember it. But let's just do... there's a Streamlabs, so we can get into that first. From Stevie Williams. Hey guys, my girlfriend and I love your channel. We watch all your Expanse reactions. Keep up the good work. Our governor just pushed back our lockdown until July. So thanks for keeping up the content. Fun fact. My parents met at the Tivoli Gardens in Denmark.
Yay!
That's nice. Tivoli. It's a. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's like one of the oldest theme parks.
In the whole world.
In the world? Yeah.
The oldest one is like Bakken, so that's on
it's
northern Sjælland.
Yeah, it's like way more north than Copenhagen. But yeah, the Tivoli Gardens. That's
it's like the second
in
oldest or something like that.
Yeah, and it's really beautiful, especially actually during the winter time. It's quite magical.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. Like they have like seasonal exhibitions or
like themes and stuff. They'll do
so
like
they have like Halloween, autumn theme, and then they have
Christmas, of course.
Christmas and Winter Wonderland kind of deal.
Easter, I think, as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then of course summertime they have just a lot of and I don't know if they're still doing it, but they have like
concerts.
Yeah, exactly. Friday concerts where they have smaller and bigger.
They've had some really big, like the biggest that I've seen like on that stage. I remember like Kanye came at one point.
Yeah.
It was like not a good venue for Kanye because that was just way too many people. That like there were not enough space for everybody who wanted to see. And even Snoop Dogg as well at one point.
Yeah, there've been some. I think Lauryn Hill went there as well.
Yeah, I went to that.
You went to that.
She was like 45 minutes delayed, but it was still good.
Yeah. So Stevie Williams, if you're listening, what state are you in? And of course, it sounds so horrible that it's been pushed all the way to July.
Yeah,
but we will definitely still be here all the way through to help you and your girlfriend, lovely girlfriend, through all of this. And it's I'm very sad to hear that, but I'm very happy that you like the content.
yeah, definitely. And if like the lockdown is being pushed back until July, it's really a damn shame. But I like to think that lockdowns being pushed back and everything, it's for our own safety, of course, and it is healthy, like health first, and not the economy necessarily, but let's not get in that. That's a whole other discussion.
That's a long discussion.
That's a big thing to get into. So let's just stay on topic, stay on target. And we do have another Streamlabs here from my mother, just saying that she loves us, which is
we love you too, Mom.
Yeah, we do, very, very much.
And I just I see that you're talking about bears. So what is the best bear?
The best bear. There's an obvious answer to that, and I haven't.
Okay, that's a reference that just went straight over. Question: what's the best bear?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yes, The Office. That's a great series.
Or what bear is best or something,
Something like that.
It's just hilarious.
Yeah. Question. Okay. Should we maybe get into some of the stuff that...
Where we've been together.
Yes, exactly. I just want to mention real quick that if you do want to, steer the conversation in a certain direction, you want us to talk about a specific, like, travel destination, or if you just want to ask us a question and you really want to hear our answer to it, then you can submit your question or your comment through Streamlabs. The link is down in the description, so please just follow that, and it'll help you with getting your question through and everything. Yes, but let's talk about where we have gone together on travels and everything. Black Bear beats Battlestar Galactica.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny, Michael.
Michael.
Sorry.
We're going into a whole
thing. We can
here.
continue with that forever. It's like my favorite. I think, is it an opening or like a closing?
I think it's a cold open. I'm pretty damn sure, and one of the best ones, and one of the best pranks that Jim is pulling on on Dwight. yeah, all right. Back to back to the travels.
Yeah, what kind of bear is best? Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one. Yeah,
That's the one. Thank you, Swill. Yeah, all right. Where have we been together? We mentioned it briefly. Do you want to get into that first, or where do you want to start?
Our first trip together was that Iceland trip, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
So we've already mentioned a little bit about that. A little bit, but we can get into some more stuff. Cause
like a little bit more, because we went to the Black Beach. Down in, I can't remember this exactly what the name of it is, but it's like a black beach and it's very famous. And sorry, somebody just continued the
whole exchange from the
yeah.
office that we just
And we went to that Black Beach, and then we went a little bit further into that place where like big broken off pieces of ice is from the or is it Eyjafjalla or is it Vatnajökull?
You were asking me about.
Sorry, it's there are like a few glaciers up there, and I can't remember if it's like the Vatnajökull or if it's like the Eyjafjalla. Yeah.
Anyone seen Walter Mitty?
And we just went to that place where you can see the glacier and you can see all of the drifting ice, and it was just very beautiful. And I have loads of pictures of that.
Yes, lots and lots and lots of pictures. So if you ever want to see some pictures from Iceland or anywhere else where we've gone on travels, then
I do
Kat
have
has
some
a lot of stuff, and you've been posting some of it on Patreon, I think.
But I don't know if people even want to see those pictures, but I'm just doing it anyways.
Just here's some pictures if you like.
I'm not a very good photographer, so
come on.
I'm not. So it's just for fun.
Yeah.
And then we went a little bit up further. We think we had we slept one night in like a cottage, very close to the three tips. Like there's like this very funny mountain with like 3 tips on it. And then we went to Akureyri. Yeah, it's this. I think it's one of the biggest cities in Iceland.
Yeah.
And around Akureyri is something called Dimmuborgir, and that's and like a whole area around there, around Dimmuborgir, where we went to a very specific tour.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's the place where we went on the tour.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think you were having fun with it. I think it was my gift for you.
A lot, and I think your mom kind of helped with that as well a little bit. But yes, we went on the Game of Thrones tour in Iceland, of course, because a lot of Game of Thrones it was filmed in Iceland. So we went to when a lot of the stuff that happens Beyond the Wall takes place. Some of the a lot of stuff from the north, and then of course the whole we went down to. Was it the cave where they filmed, Jon Snow and Ygritte hooking up for the first time?
No, she told us that it was they
were supposed to use it. Yes, that's right. But
it's one of those springs that get hotter with time.
Yes.
And it was just 1 degree too
hot, and it was very steamy down there. So the footage, it wasn't too great. So they had to redo it in a studio, it's a shame, but as far as I remember, they told us something about, the degrees had been, for a long period of time, had been, it's just too hot to go swimming in these, underground hot springs. But it was getting a little bit cooler, and then, that maybe in a few years, people would be able to start using them as,
perhaps
natural jacuzzis again or something. Yeah, perhaps, but that was a good tour.
Yeah,
that was real nice, and something that just the two of us with one guide. There were like no one else, right? It was just us and the guide.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
and she took us a lot of places. I think she took us to. I think it was Godafoss. The waterfall of the gods or something like that. So we went there, and we went to the different backdrops for Game of Thrones, and we went to The place is called Mivaden. Sorry. And Dimoborgia, and I can see some of you are saying like the black metal band. I think it's the other way around. I think they have taken that word from Icelandic, and it means dark castle. Dimo means dark, and Borgia means castle.
Yeah.
And it's because of these lava fissures that have been growing, because it's a very tectonically active place, Iceland. So they have there's this whole plain full of like weird lava fissure sculptures almost. And she had so much, she told us so many great things.
Yeah. We got so many like stories, and she of course told us a lot, like many stories from when they were filming Game of Thrones there, and where the actors and everybody they were staying, and how they liked it there, and how Iceland is just has just become a very, very popular place for, you know, it's like the popular filming location, and you can totally get that because
it's really beautiful.
It's really beautiful, and it kind of looks like a different realm sometimes, like depending on where you look.
Magical.
It just looks like a fairy tale land.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for something like Game of Thrones. And I think while we were there, they were filming Fast and Furious 8, or they just wrapped filming,
I think
like when we
like
got there or something. They were filming something on a big ice lake. So that
has been a couple of months prior to that, but yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And there was something I wanted to say about Iceland. People in Iceland do speak. No, they don't. They know Danish because it's like their second or third language. Yeah. So it's like a mandatory in school, and that's why my father actually went there to be a teacher, but also like a consultant or someone who was trying to see how are people studying Danish in Iceland.
Yeah.
But he also told me that they are very good in written Danish because it makes sense to them. But as soon as Danish people start talking, they have no clue at all what's going on. So that's just a little fun fact for you there. And now I remember there has been a lot of growing tourism in Iceland, and it's not because like everybody's attention just suddenly
shifted to Iceland.
It's like, because they have been closed down for tourism until very recently.
Yeah.
And that's also why we have not went to the Blue Lagoon, because it's kind of like an overpriced, over-tourism place. Instead, we went to the, like these...
Something similar, but just not as touristy.
Yeah, exactly. In Mivaden, the area. It's like you still have these very blue, almost white baths.
And hot, very hot, of course. And being able to do that outside and in the cold and in the hot springs, that's always great fun. Reminds me of another ski trip I went on at one point, a ski safari. If you ever get the chance to do that in Canasei in Italy, there's that was a great experience as well, and being able to sit in a jacuzzi at like 3,000 meters height while a big eagle or something, I think it was falcon or something, was sitting next to us and then keeping guard. It was just surreal, but yeah, just had to get that in there because a memory popped up, so I have to
of course.
take advantage of that. But Iceland, that's still I really want to go back as well.
And love to go there again.
It's a place where we definitely want to take our children at some point when we.
Yeah, and talk about tell them all the stories and make them, make them somewhat open to adventures and like fairy tales and fantasy and all this. And yeah, of course, Iceland have many hot springs, so of course we went to many hot springs as well.
Yeah, and there's also one of the things that I really remember from that trip is the fact that it was just, at that time of year, it was light out, like all the time. It didn't get dark at any point.
It got like twilighty.
Twilighty, yes.
During the night.
But it was still like bright, pretty much bright outside. That was
amazing. This is amazing. It's so weird.
that was very, very weird. And then if we had gone in the winter time, just like 6 months from when we went, it would have been pretty much dark all the time. So I can imagine some people, they get into like a serious winter depression up there, or that could happen. So and then because of it being bright and light out all the time, we did not get to see any northern lights.
No, exactly.
So that is something that we have to get back there to experience. But,
really.
Yeah.
My dad even told me that at some point he went crazy. He lived there, as I said, for a year. So that was past he went from I think August until June. So he had trouble sleeping in the night because it was so bright and it's this very alien green color.
Yeah.
And he was just like, at some point he was just like, turn it off! Cause
Enough is enough!
Because it's really beautiful, but when you have been there for months, it's like, just turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn off the light.
Someone turn off the freaking green lights.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
I do see some questions here just quickly. Yes, we have reacted to Game of Thrones, but only season 8.
Yeah.
I wish we could have done like all seasons, and especially the early seasons, because that's when I think the series was at its best. It's a shame that we only reacted to the weakest season of the bunch, but it is what it is.
Yeah. We were late to the game.
Yeah, we were.
Okay, Litis.
Of course.
We're just gonna have a short break because I need to pee a lot. I have been drinking a lot of tea and water, so I need to.
Exactly, and I can.
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah. I can talk a little bit while we do that. Yeah, I just saw that someone in the chat, Kazu, asked, "Do you do travel trip for work, Sonny, like you did in London?" Not usually. That was a special case where some of my friends, they asked for my help to make a music video because they are musicians and they needed help with location and filming and stuff. How much did the Game of Thrones tour cost? I'm not quite sure. It wasn't too expensive. It was semi-expensive, of course, but it's just what was it? Maybe something. Yeah, like $200 or something. Yeah, like a couple of $100. I think that's the extent of it. And the tour was like for several hours, and we got to see a lot. And as I said, we had like a private guide pretty much and everything. So sorry, the cat is yelling from the bathroom. I can barely hear her. All right. Let's see. Oh, there's a new Streamlabs. Okay, I'm gonna wait with that till Kat gets back. That's a really good question, actually. Nothing's cheap in Iceland. Yeah, probably not. And stuff has probably gotten more and more expensive over there ever since they opened up for for people to actually go there and for tourism and everything. And so Percelot is just asking us, will it be boy or Githdogs after this stream?
It's your turn, right? Do you wanna?
Yeah, then it's probably boy. At some point, I'll let you guys know.
It's gonna be that of boy.
Yes. Okay, we have some Streamlabs that I just want to get to quickly here. We have one from Eric. Speaking of travels, this is a cool question. Which fictional travel destination would you love to visit? I, for one, would love to visit Coruscant from Star Wars. Ooh. That I would love to visit Coruscant as well. It's not somewhere I would like to live, because I would want to be on a planet where there's, like nature and not just the one big freaking city and just layers and layers upon it. But it would be really interesting seeing something like Coruscant. Yeah. And
if we're into Star Wars, can I just say that I really want to go to Korriban?
Yes, or as it's apparently called in canon now,
I'm not gonna.
I know you're not gonna, but yeah.
But yeah, I would love to go to Korriban because there's so much rich history about the Sith and
the Sith homeworld.
Yeah, exactly. I just
exactly.
That's actually what got me hooked on Star Wars: The Old Republic, because there's so much of that. They were just excavating everything,
and now it's not canon anymore, any of it. And I think they've even gone as far as like in the latest Rise of the Skywalker, they just even like abandoned like what used to be Korriban and now it's Moraband. They didn't even use that. They came up with a whole new place because why not? Apparently, that place they then went to and with the Emperor and all that. What Hexagon was it called or something? The more I think about it, that movie was a bit of a mess, but that was the whole trilogy. Yeah.
Do you have anywhere else?
Well, yeah. Of course, if we're in the Star Wars galaxy, I think one of the most beautiful places to visit would be Naboo.
Yeah.
Because it's just green and it's beautiful. And what else? Well, I kind of want to go to Mandalore, just because of the Mandalorian culture and everything. I don't think the planet itself, just how it looks and the nature there and everything and the environment is not the most interesting, because it seems like it's just flat, and then there are these dome cities. But I don't know what kind of fictional world.
I don't know.
Are we going to Middle Earth or?
I don't know.
Or just
Oh yeah. 2 sec. I just wanted to say that we're both from Denmark. Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Now you're saying Middle Earth. I would love to go live and just like
stay there in the Shire.
The Shire.
Yes.
Yeah. But we're basically already hobbits living in the Shire, so it's like it's just a little bit more colorful and.
Yeah, I don't even know if you saw that, but someone commented on one of our videos where we used the Danish term hygge. And then we say that and we quickly commented on it and said that it's hard to translate. But then someone then posted in the comments that imagine the Shire back end at the Shire. That's pretty much what hygge is, like the That's pretty much what it is, it's a good explanation.
We're not as snarky and afraid of foreigners, like xenophobic or simple.
Some Danes definitely are. Unfortunately, sorry to say, like we do have some really bad apples in this country.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but the Shire, shit, yes. Yeah. If I had to pick a place where I had to just
Rivendell.
Oh yeah, that as well, or just just Middle Earth in a post-Sauron age, where it's peace. I know the elves are gonna be gone at that point, which is sad. But yeah, we can probably keep talking about that stuff. But at least that's some of the fictional places we would love to go.
Yeah, it's hard to. I would love to go to Hogwarts.
Of course, the Wizarding World. That's a good one.
I'm still waiting for my admission letter.
You're still waiting for that freaking out.
I know I'm like what 17
years too late.
But yeah. I'm still waiting. I'm telling you.
You're a wizard, cat. All right. We have another Streamlabs. Stevie Williams. I'm from Portland, Oregon. Oregon is the state above California. I agree, though. Staying healthy is way more important. I'm lucky enough to be able to work from home. Oh, that's great.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah, really happy to hear that you do have some sort of stable income still in these trying times and everything. And just speaking of states in the US, Kat is really good at the states and where they are, and you do this quite often.
I just have to be sure that I still can remember. I remember. I can tell all 50 states, and I can tell for the most part exactly where they're located.
Yeah.
And some of them I can say the rest I can say where they are approximately located, as well as I am also very good with European countries as well. I'm a little bit rusty on the East European countries, Southeast, but I'm very good at pinpointing the approximate area. So it's just that In Oregon, it's just this. It's very interesting. I'm following some foster moms, cat foster moms from Oregon. And I think it looks like it's a very foresty kind of state, right? And of course I know where Texas is at.
It's one of the biggest, man.
I actually had family in Texas, but they moved to Munich, and then they went to Idaho, I think, and then they went to, I think they're living in Washington now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually have family,
Yeah.
a lot of family in the States.
Yeah. Now that we are talking about the States in general, then we can get into maybe where have we been in the States, and then where did we go together? And I can.
That was the next one.
Yes, that was a real good one. And the places where I've been, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Some of the places I went to first, that was actually Florida. And we landed in New York, though, me and my father. And I remember getting there. It was such a long flight, and we were so tired. And I was pretty much just falling asleep on the luggage and everything while my dad was just dragging it around. And we got out there, and as I've mentioned, me and my father, we didn't really do the whole planning thing. We just went somewhere and then we figured it out. So we hadn't booked any hotel or anything because we thought, hey, it's New York. It's like it's one of the biggest cities in the world. Of course they're gonna have a place for us to stay. Nope, not at all. Everything sold out. We had to drive to, I think, Newark. And find like a hostel there, or a motel, I think it was. So that was interesting, but yeah, then New York, and I think we also did Washington there, and then Florida. That's where I got to go to Disney World, and then we also went to Colorado. That's where I got to do some skiing in the States for the first time there, and get to experience the like how the snow is actually very different from what it is in the Alps. It's way more dry in the Rockies, and then in the Alps where it can be more wet and it'll stick to your clothes and everything. And then we've been to California together and Nevada, and that was great.
Yeah, it was a very long dream of mine to go to Death Valley, and a couple of years ago I had 2 months of not free time, but before I started on my masters, I had like a 2 month period where we could go travel. So we went for 10 or 12 days. 10 days, I think it was. And we flew to Los Angeles.
Yep.
And then we just went straight to Las Vegas.
Yes, we rented a car, and then we just straight, like, and unfortunately our flight was delayed. So we got to LA later than anticipated, and we were more tired than anticipated, but we still decided to go through with the plan and just pick up the car and drive straight for Las Vegas. And that probably not the wisest choice. We maybe should have
slipped
just found somewhere to sleep, at least just for a couple of hours, and then we could go for a long drive, because I got really tired towards the end there, and I was going like stay up and opening up the window and get some cold and fresh air. That was not the best, but then we got to Las Vegas, and we saw that. That was also a very crazy experience.
But I really liked Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I just felt
maybe somewhere, maybe if we were able to go back to Las Vegas, I would say we would have to stay there for more than one night, because we were just trying to see.
We were there 2 nights.
We were? Oh yeah, that's because we got there and then we slept, and then we had like a day, and then we slept and we left like the next morning. So we essentially just had one day there, and that was just, and we tried to do like everything in one day and one evening, and we got kind of tired again towards the end, and just walking a lot. So yeah, we maybe should have spaced it out a little bit. I don't know when we were ever gonna go back. And we didn't gamble at all. No,
we didn't go there for the gambling.
No.
We went there because I really wanted to see the Strip, and because it was very close to Death Valley. It's like 1-2 hours away. And as I said, I really wanted to see Death Valley, and it was first when I actually started playing Fallout New Vegas that I figured that Hoover Dam is actually just east of Las Vegas, and we didn't go there. So yes, we didn't go there, and I'm very sad about that. But I think we will be back for more.
Of course.
And,
we were about to go. We were just about to go there again, or California at least.
And no, we didn't go to see any shows. I know there's a lot of drag shows, and I would love to go to one of those. But we didn't have time. We saw like a Worth It, BuzzFeed Worth It kind of deal where they went to 3 different places, like different price points with the feast, like
okay, like we saw that. Not while we were there. Okay,
but we were just inspired by this, and we saw this place in West Las Vegas, like this big, huge buffet with like a feast and everything. And we went there and just ate our hearts out. It was amazing.
That's pretty much the first place we went. Like when we got to Las Vegas, and we woke up there the day after. And that's when you and me too. We fell in love with pink lemonade, or just lemonade in general, because that's not really a thing here. And if you do manage to find lemonade, there's gonna be
sparkles in it.
Yeah, exactly. And we want without the sparkles or yeah.
Yeah. And I think we were there and
gas. Yeah.
And we were there and we were just eating and
I think they had like so many buffets, and they were all divided into like countries and regions and everything, and I remember like going straight for like the Italian section, I think, and
I think I went straight to the Asian section or something. And I think it's called the feast actually, because it was just a feast. And I went and found something to eat like 3 times or something. It was crazy good. And then they had like many different drinks. And I saw someone have a pink, like really like pastel pink drink. And I was just like, can I get one of those? I don't know what it is, but I want one. And then we found there was pink lemonade, and it's some of the best beverages you can ever have. And ever since that, it's like the first thing. And one of the main reasons I'm going back to the States over and over, I want to go back to the States over and over, because it's just like they're not doing pink lemonade well here. So, yeah. And then we went we went to see the Strip in the evening, because I really wanted to go, and there were so many lights, but there were so many people, and I didn't like the whole gambling thing, and it felt like everyone was so rowdy, and they were so loud, and
it was I don't know what I expected. Since I had been to the States before, and at that point I had done my whole like Canada and North America trip and everything, and I just pretty much anywhere else you go in North America, you can't drink on the street, for example. You can't be like visibly drunk out in public most places. But in Vegas, of course, it's different. I don't know why I didn't expect or why I didn't anticipate that, but I just remember walking up and down there, and I was like, this is more like being back in Denmark on like New Year's Eve or something, and everybody's just running around in the street like crazy drunk, and at least there's no fireworks, but hey, it was a bit like not the North America that I remembered. But it was still a good experience, and something that I'm glad we did. But then we went from Vegas to Death Valley, right?
Yeah, we went through. I think we went up early, and then we we had a rental car, and then we went to. We went through Death Valley and had a few stops before it became dark, because it was in November, so it got dark very early, so I think we went just to have we had a break in around Zabriskie Point, I think, and just had, that amazing view. And then we drove past the dunes. I would have loved to actually fooled around. Oh, that sounds. Oh, no. I would have loved to have a small break around the dunes and experience the dunes, because I've never been to a desert before. So I would have loved to walk around to the dunes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that just reminded me of a trip I hadn't talked about, but I'll do that after. Just speaking of deserts.
And I would also have loved to see those mysterious traveling stones. I think that's also in Death Valley, and it's one of the things that made me fall in love with the place.
Yeah.
But I was very happy about the whole thing, and then we went to on the other side of Death Valley and back into California, where we found this teeny tiny, I don't even think it was a village or something, it was just like, I don't even think there were any shops around the place, but something called Olancha, where we stayed for the night, and it was amazing. And I remember we went there, it was completely dark.
Yeah.
It was completely dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can I tell about what happened?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
We got there, and the people who like had or operated the ranch where we stayed, they were so nice, like so nice people, and they were making like a great dinner, and they had beers and all sorts of stuff. So of course we wanted to just enjoy life a little bit, and I wanted maybe to enjoy it a bit more, because when Kat went to bed, I just started talking to this other guy who was at the place, and we got a little bit drunk together, and we went out and went like stargazing, because like just the visibility of the stars and everything was just something like on a whole other level from
the
anything.
air was so crisp there.
Exactly, anything that I've ever experienced. So we just went out and just drank beers and looked at the stars, and then all of a sudden we got to this like totally remote place where it looked like a completely abandoned house. Like all the windows, they were busted, there was like trash everywhere, and we even like looked inside, and it was like, okay, this just looks like abandoned, like someone like just threw a hand grenade here and then ran away or something. It did not look like anyone was living there. But we didn't get too far away from the place again, or we pretty much just looked at it and then just decided that, hey, it's probably abandoned, turned around, and then we heard click click from a shotgun. And some old dude was just standing there and being like, get off my property. That was really fucking scary, because he was just aiming a shotgun like straight at us.
A cocked shotgun.
Exactly. I was just like hands up, and I was like, sorry sir, we're going immediately. I'm so sorry. We did not mean to. It looked abandoned. I'm really sorry. And the other guy I was with, he was just, oh, shut up, you old fart. You're not gonna shoot us. Fuck you. Like, and I was just like, dude, man, don't provoke him. What are you doing? Because he was just standing there in his like freaking underwear, like wearing, that and a tank top, and then like holding a shotgun. I was like, I don't want to mess with this guy. But yeah, we got back in one piece, and I went to bed, and I got up the day after, and I was terribly hungover.
Yeah,
terribly,
you were retching,
terribly. I was yelling in the big phone.
Yeah,
as
I had to
people
let him
say.
sleep for hours while I was watching some Flow TV. And I think I actually watched Fight Club while you were kind of getting a little bit better. But yeah, and I remember when we got out, because it was so dark when we arrived, so we had no idea what
the place actually looked like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we went out, and we looked up right behind the place where it was like a teeny tiny motel. It was amazing. I really hope they're still in business, because they are amazing people, and yeah, it was amazing. And then we just looked up into this clear blue sky and
mountains.
then mountains
Yeah.
with snow
Whoa.
on top.
Yes.
We did not see that when we arrived, so we had no idea what was going on just outside. It was just like we were right at the foot of the mountain. It was just incredible.
It was amazing, yes. And then from there on, we went
south, and then I think we had a break around Lake Isabella. I think it's called Lake Isabella. Is that the one?
You might be right. Yeah.
And then we found out that that I have done some wrong bookings. And
we had to do some rebooking, but that worked out fine. Like they were really nice and everything.
But we the thing is, I had booked this place around Lake Isabella to the day before, so we were actually not we didn't show up at the right time, and so we just had to do something very quickly from there, and I don't even think it was so we didn't. Unfortunately, we were supposed to sleep there, but we didn't. So we just saw, we were just seeing the wonderful, beautiful Lake Isabella.
But then we went and saw something really cool, which was actually something we didn't mean to go that route with Sequoia.
Yeah, we went to I think it was called Porterville or something.
Yeah.
Just a smaller city, just. West of Sequoia, the Sequoia forest, and I remember that we went we went south and then we went up just alongside Sequoia, and I remember seeing all these plantation
plantations.
Yeah, we saw all these plantations, mainly like oranges and all these wonderful plantations all the way up, and we also went to some place where they had all these drilling oil drills, like these that was
it's just she's just once again, her memory is so much better than mine. My mind went straight from the place where someone aimed at me with a shotgun to the big trees in Sequoia. I did not even remember where we went between that. So just continue.
Yeah, and so I went. No, so I have never seen those drilling oil drills before, and it was so crazy just seeing a bunch load.
Buttload?
Mixing
a bunch
words.
of them. Yes.
It was just I saw someone say orchard. Yeah, you can say an orchard, I think.
Yeah, they would probably be or an orchard. Is that smaller than I don't know.
They
were growing
huge.
oranges.
Yeah,
yes.
And it was amazing. and I was just so I was really baffled when I saw these oil drills, and that was just what I was just like, I have never experienced this before. This is so weird.
No, because our oil drills are out on the water.
Exactly.
Not inland.
Exactly. It was just basically huge fields just filled with these.
Yeah.
And so that.
But the cool thing about that area, that was then going and seeing these huge trees, and specifically the biggest. The biggest tree in the world, right? Not the tallest, but the biggest. That had the biggest.
The trunk was the biggest.
Yeah. And it was called Big Ben, wasn't it, or something like that?
Oh, it was called General something.
Oh no, not Big Ben. General. I'm sure some of you guys know. Tell us in the comments. And just now that we're mentioning oil drilling, I just see Jerry saying, quoting. A movie, if you can probably see what it is.
Yeah,
I drink your milkshake.
Yeah.
I love that. Great movie.
So we went there, and it was so beautiful, and I really liked that. It was there was luckily a lot of people. There, so there were no bears around.
No dangerous animals or anything. I don't think we were in.
That was a great experience.
Yeah.
And then we went. Did we go somewhere else? Or did we go straight to
I
San Francisco?
think from there on we had a few delays, so we just decided to go straight for San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that was also like a city that we both really enjoyed, and just of course went the typical places and saw the stuff, like we went down on the wharf and saw the very steep streets and everything. Just soaked up the culture there. It seemed a little more like young and vibrant maybe than even LA.
Yeah, General Sherman. Sorry. Yeah.
General Sherman, thank you, General Sherman. That was the big tree.
Yeah.
The beast.
And we saw that. We saw Alcatraz.
Yes, we went to Alcatraz while we were there, and
the
we were
classical
actually
stuff.
pretty lucky to be able to see and take pictures of
The Golden Gate Bridge.
Exactly, because it was not foggy while we were there. It was actually pretty nice and clear weather, so
Yeah.
that was pretty lucky.
Yeah. And we really liked it. Yeah, and the goddamn sea lions.
Seals. Yeah, just everywhere we went, and then and then going from San Francisco, we of course tried to just go all the way down Route 1 and just keep to the coast as much as possible. At one point then we did hit a roadblock, and we had to like drive up through the mountains and down again, and that was a bit of a hassle, but it was just funny driving like all the way down the coastline, and you could just still hear the in the background.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, but San Fran was a little bit different than everything else we've experienced, because it felt a little bit more like being back home in Europe, because everything felt more Europe-y somehow.
Yeah.
And I really, and especially they also a little bit more progressive in the way they are using public transportation as well, and I personally really like that.
Yeah.
So we did take the bus around a little bit.
Thank you for
And-
saying our seal impression is on point. That's
Thank you.
always what you want to hear, right?
But yeah, I have like, I think I have a couple of videos with those goddamn sea lions just lying on the pier, just saying, "Arr, arr, arr."
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, you could hear it all the way down through the.
Yeah, I think the trolley cars. That's what Kat is talking about with the public transportation and stuff. But yeah, it's not that we know. Of course, there are public transportation elsewhere in the States, and we haven't been everywhere all over the place. So I'm sure there are places where they are putting a lot of effort into public transportation other than San Fran, but that's at least something we noticed while we were there.
Yeah, it was that was great as well. And then we, as you said, we went down the
Route 1?
Route 1,
Mm-hmm.
but it was closed at that point. So we were supposed to go all the way through, all the way down, and end up in LA with a break in something called Morro Bay. But then we found out that we couldn't get to, and
we did go to Morro Bay.
Yeah, was it afterwards?
I don't remember if it was before or after we hit the little roadblock, and we had to like kind of go up through the mountains and then back and hit the route later on.
It was before. So it was
Okay.
close before
Yes.
Morro Bay, because now I remember why. Because we had to go through this. It was like a big piece of land that was military operational. You had
like military grounds, like
Yeah.
trainings and stuff. But first we had to drive up through a mountain, and
Yeah.
that would, like a very very steep and narrow road, which was interesting driving
Yeah,
there.
and it was like I was really crossing my fingers for our tiny car to actually be able to pull through
and
the whole.
that my driving would be sufficient.
Yeah, but we made it through.
Yeah, and then we went to Morro Bay, and that was
Yeah.
just a nice little just pit stop. It was the weather was so nice there. Even though we were there in November, it was just so hot outside, and people were just still in like total vacation summer holiday mode. It seemed like in that city at least. And I remember us getting, I think still to this day, like some of the best pizza we've ever had
yeah.
in our entire lives. I
Yeah.
don't know exactly what they did with it there, but it was just the
was-
crusts especially was.
It was so soft inside.
Yes,
It was amazing.
on point.
But the thing is, we went there once again. We went there when it was dark, so we had no idea what it looked like in daylight. So we woke up and we were told to go down to the coast, like those 100 meters or something.
Yeah.
And then we saw this huge rock out in the water, and it was just a nice experience sitting and eating our breakfast. Huge pancake. I got a huge pancake. I've never experienced like a portion size that big, but
Oh yeah, of course. That was another thing where sometimes we were a bit like in a state of like cultural shock or something. Like when waiters would serve us whatever food we ordered, and then we got it, and it was like, so who am I sharing this with? Like, this is so much food.
Yeah.
And I remember like explicitly. This was probably in LA, but where I just wanted just a plain omelet. That's all I wanted. Just omelet, just some eggs for breakfast. It didn't need to be anything other than that. And even though I just ordered a plain omelet, I've got the omelet, but it was just bathed in a small lake of grease or butter or something, and then I of course still got the hash brown and the bacon and everything else, and I was like, no, don't give like it's yeah. I was just
and then when you open it, it was like cheese and cheese and cheese, right?
the omelet.
Yeah.
No, I ordered a plain omelet,
Okay.
and then I was surprised by was the amount of grease and all. Like I'm just just crack some eggs on a pan and then like make scramble or just make an omelet. Just don't add like 50 grams of butter or something. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But hey, it's that's different cultures and everything. But we learned once we were there that sometimes we probably should just share a dish instead. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went from Morro Bay and all the way back to LA. And then we stayed there for a couple of days before we went home. And during those days, we saw Venice Beach. We saw Griffith
Observatory, Griffith Park.
malls. We experienced Black Friday.
Oh yeah, it wasn't too bad.
And,
really, of course, there were like lines, people like outside of some of the stores, but it wasn't like the stuff you see on some videos or we had seen on the internet, like people like rushing into a store and just trampling other people and stuff like that. That didn't happen. But yeah. Oh, as someone is saying, just eat fruit. Yeah, we tried to as well eat a lot of fruit and try to make some sandwiches ourselves that we could then take with us out.
That was a little bit hard because even though there was always a fridge in where we went most places.
There wasn't always.
I think there were 2 at maximum of the places we were where there was no fridge.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of hard actually when you have to travel from place to place and actually keeping your food cold and edible for a longer period of time. But we basically made the whole like we lived off of Mountain Dew and pink lemonade basically.
We bought some of that so that we had it with us. But it's not that we only drank sugar water.
but we really liked it there. And of course, one last thing I want to just reminisce about is we went to a Korean barbecue. And I have never seen Sonny eat that much food.
Yeah, I was in heaven. And I even, after, like, I was completely full, but I was just like,
He just had
bring
to get
on, just same thing I just had. Just it was so good. Just give me more. give me some more Kobe meat and stuff like that. It was just it was really good.
I've never seen a person eat that much in my. Well, I have. I think I have eaten more myself, but there was just Sonny's stubbornness when it comes to this kind of deal. It was just he just engorged on this. It was just crazy, and he was really stalling. I remember, and.
I had to take pictures of it and everything.
Yeah,
it was like one and only Korean barbecue we've ever been to. But I do want to go back and experience. I know it's gonna be a little more challenging now that because when we went, Kat wasn't a vegetarian. She is now, so that kind of put some limitations on where we can go and eat.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
Just want to say hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Mark. Yeah. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And yeah, that's so we ended in LA again, and just had some great days there, and saw all the places that we had to see, Hollywood Boulevard and everything, of course, and. Then I just said, I mentioned quickly that I remembered some of the other places that I've gone to. I just want to mention quickly that I also went back to the States, like after we were there. I went to visit some friends in Annapolis first. And I babysitted their kids a lot of the time. I just spent some time there. Yeah, it was just nice spending some time there, and while you were like neck deep in your studies and everything back home, I was helping around with some stuff there in Annapolis, and then I kind of decided to go to LA again because I wanted to go to the first live showing of the movie Trivia Schmodown, or the first live event of the movie Trivia Schmodown. And if you don't know what it is, then I can very much what's it called?
Recommend.
Thank you. Sometimes the words just. I can very much recommend just taking a look at that. Like if you like pop culture and if you're missing some sort of sports stuff, then I can recommend the movie Trivia Schmodown. I think it's called the movie Trivia Schmodown, or what's it called? Schmodown Entertainment Network. That's what the channel is called here on YouTube. Either way, I went to a live event there, and that was really great, and met some really cool people, and spent some more time in LA as well once again. And then the one that I remembered when you were talking about the first time you saw a desert, and that made me remember that
Tunisia?
I went to Tunisia at one point with my father once again. I think this was actually when I was 19 or 20. I think I might have been 20 at this point. And we went there both to, see Tunisia, but also to see some of the places where they filmed Star Wars, and specifically stuff they filmed for Tatooine and, the Last Homestead, from episode 4 and episode 3 as well. They use it in episode 2 and stuff. And that was just real neat. And I just remember at one point we were driving in these very air-conditioned cars, and then they made like a quick stop at like the edge of the Sahara Desert, and we like stepped out of the car and we just got hit by this wall of heat straight away. And I remember just taking like a deep breath. You could just feel how it was like burning all the way down. It was so warm. It was so hot. It was just like, this is really cool. Wow, Sahara. Okay, back in the car. Would love to go back, but I have a feeling that it's probably not one of the safest places to go back to, or it hasn't really been that safe for the past couple of years, both because of ISIS and other stuff that has happened down there, and some of the filming locations for Star Wars. I don't think they're there anymore because some people took issue and destroyed them, I think, amongst other stuff. But yeah, that was just a journey or a trip that I remember and just had to mention real quick. And another good one with my father.
Of course.
I think that was the last time me and my father went somewhere, just the two of us. No, we've also gone to like Star Wars celebration together. Of course, I think the latest one was in
London.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, London, baby.
And thank you for pointing out my eyeshadow. I usually don't wear green because of this damn green screen. Green screen.
Green screen.
Green screen. Yeah.
Green screen. Yes.
Yeah. That pesky green screen.
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed, like sometimes our clothes will be like
glitchy,
a little bit glitchy or something. It's just because apparently there's something in it that is kind of green or something, or it just so that's why we can't really wear green, and Kat can't wear green makeup while we're doing our reactions in front of the green screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we went. We were also, as I think I think we talked about me being in France with you and your family. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we mentioned it quickly.
And then the year after, we went to the US. We went to Berlin with my family.
Oh yeah.
And just saw the usual stuff. I don't think I've ever been to Berlin before that. No, I haven't. So that was great, just to look around stuff and seeing more stuff and experiencing things. And I always love to travel with my parents, even though it can be very chaotic sometimes.
They have this amazing ability of just really knowing where they want to go and what they want to see individually. So once you hit like a certain destination, it's like, oh, okay, where are we going? Like, oh, I'm going that way. I'm going that way. I'm going that way. And then sometimes you're just standing in the middle, going like, okay, so we're where do we meet up then? Like,
yeah, that's just my family.
They are very adventurous, and especially your mom can be like, I'm gonna start walking, and that's now.
I love my mom. She's very special.
Yeah.
We have certain sayings about her that she's a little bit. She has a lot of energy, and she's a fiddler. Like she
she fiddles a lot.
She likes to touch stuff because of, and I have the same thing. I like to touch stuff.
Yes.
No innuendos, please. But at least, we went to Berlin. That was great. We went to I think one of my favorite museums ever. It was like a computer game. Video game museum.
Oh yeah, a gaming museum. That was really cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was mainly it, because of course we went to see all the whole Berlin Wall stuff.
Yeah, and we've been to Berlin. Oh, had you been to Berlin before?
No.
Okay.
That was my only time being in Berlin. I had like a stop on the Hauptbahnhof.
Yes.
But that was it. And we also went then to the zoo, because that's apparently something we do in my family.
Yeah, I actually also did that like last time I was in Berlin, like before going there with your parents, or with you and your parents. Because I do like going to the zoo. It's nice.
It is, and it's funny to see sometimes what kind of animals they have.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's like pretty much the places we've gone together.
No, I think you've forgotten the whole year, the year of 2019, because we went skiing it last year.
Oh yeah, in Italy.
In Italy.
Oh yeah. Right. Sorry, I had wrapped. In my mind, we were done talking about skiing, so I was trying to remember other places.
We went skiing last year in February, I think it was, and it was amazing. It was.
Yeah, and that was in Italy, in Canasei, the same place where I mentioned you can do the ski safari. So
yeah. That was amazing.
That was real good.
And was so lucky with the weather.
With the weather. Yeah, man.
And
wow. It was perfect.
Yeah.
All the while we were there, it was just blue bird sky, and perfect. And the snow, it was perfect as well. Sorry.
Yeah, and then I think this one is probably the best vacation I have ever been to, like the best ever. And that was last summer, when we went to all the way through Germany on a road trip down to Lake Constance, and because my cousin was getting married, so we actually went through all the way down through Germany. So I think we had stopped in Hameln, and then we have had one two in around Würzburg. Würzburg? No, I think it was Würzburg, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we went somewhere very close to the Alps. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it was very Alp-like, and I love the Alps, and I would love to go back. And then we went, and then on the last couple of days, we went to very close to Lake Constance, like south of that.
Yeah.
And
yes, Irfan, I am very forgetful.
And and we went to a very cool. It was like my first real wedding, I think, where I actually know people, and that was such an amazing experience. I've heard a lot of things about the wedding since then. Apparently, people were not very happy with the seating situations, but we never felt that at all.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just it was such an incredible experience for us, because the day before we went to this pool party, just a very close like pool parties with the pool being Lake Constance. It was very funny and lovely, and
nice beach house, and it was very relaxed and everything. We got to meet some of the people there, and for me, like meeting many of them for the first time. And then the day after, that's when we did like the actual wedding stuff, and going to a very, very, very beautiful church. Seeing them get married there and everything, and then everybody's dressed up and walking together and taking like a ferry back to the mainland, because they were actually getting married in like in a small like island out in the
like one of those semi-islands I was talking about.
I think and like there and it was just real beautiful, and it was just a big wedding, a big hall, and just all sorts of drinks and wine and delicious food and music and people dancing. It was just
it was great.
A real like big glamorous wedding, and something that I've at least never tried before. Well, I've been to weddings, I've just never been to like a really, really big wedding like that before.
It was amazing.
Yeah, that was cool. It was really nice.
Yeah. Even though we didn't understand much of what was going on when they spoke German, but it was...
No, we could, understand some stuff here and there.
Like the main points.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier to understand it than it is to speak it, at least for us. And when it's written, it's way easier to understand. So
yeah. And people have been telling us that Germans are usually very reserved as well, and don't really like to talk to people, and is especially based on that whole experience. I have never ever felt more welcome somewhere. People were so nice to me. It was it was so amazing. And once again, the whole experience was amazing. And when I went home with my sister and my sister's at that time boyfriend, Sonny was still going strong for a couple of hours after that, and then he just crashed very hard when he got back to the hotel. And it was
yes, but I made some friends and I had fun, and
it was really fun. And it was great beer in the southern, or just of course in the whole of Germany.
I love German beer, like Weissbier. I love Weissbier, and Hefe Weissbier or something like that. It's I love it. I think
it was very formal. Yeah, we had to be there in like a dress and like a
suit up and everything, and dresses, and very, very formal. Even though it was actually really, really, really hot that day.
It was so hot.
It was like, God damn it, do I need to wear all of these layers? But of course you have to wear like for the guys at least, the pants and the shirt and the jacket and
people
and everything.
I remember because you actually chose to wear sandals.
I had like,
but you did.
Now people are gonna think I'm a real dork or something, and because I was wearing very nice sandals. Like they're good looking and new sandals that just I was able to get some air on my feet, because those are usually the ones that get very hot, for me at least. So if I can have like my feet free, and not wrapped up in socks and shoes and everything, then it's more bearable. And a lot of people at the wedding, they were like, I should have done that. That's such a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that was a funny part, because during the day everybody was like,
yeah, hipster Sonny. I looked very much like a hipster.
oh,
sorry.
you look so amazing, because you also had that long, beautiful brown
and
hair.
it wasn't socks and sandals. No.
No. It's just, and I just remember how people were just looking at you like, are you for real? And then later on, after a couple of beers and some drinks, everyone was just like, I wish I did that as well.
I thought of that, yeah.
Yeah, it was and I remember our whole family was just in a state of crisis, because we don't really wear formal clothes often, and it was panic. But it was, people were so nice to us, and it was an amazing experience, and it felt like my cousin was actually very, very happy to have us there. So that
they were happy that
it was
we
so
came
nice.
all the way, and it was a real nice trip.
Yes, Mark, I will post a picture of it. I promise. I promise.
I think you posted some stuff.
I think that was on my own Instagram.
Okay, fair enough.
And
Then,
I can see that someone, if we enjoy Sprite and our beer.
Okay, yeah,
like
like
a radler?
if we're making like a radler or something like that. Yes, I enjoy that. I really like a good radler. And for those of you who don't know what it is usually beer mixed with some sort of lemonade beverage, usually something like Sprite. There's also something called a diesel, I think, and that is like beer and Coke, like Coca-Cola. I'm not a big fan of that. I like the citrusy stuff, because it's just, especially during the summertime, it's very fresh.
Yeah.
And it's called
Radler.
Radler.
Yeah.
Ein Radler. Yeah.
I really love radler, especially because I'm a little bit not so good with beer. I can definitely enjoy beer, but I when you pair them with a little bit of like lemonade or something, it's perfect.
Mwah.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Real good.
And I'm sorry, but I just wanted to point out something a little bit more, a little bit earlier in the chat. Patrick asking about our favorite places in Denmark, and I think if you're hanging on, we can get to that when we talk about like where we want to go in the future and stuff like that.
Okay. I was just about to say we're closing the stream very soon. I thought because we've been going for like 2 hours and 17 minutes, so it's probably not going to be too long, but we still have a little bit to talk about. But we promise it's not going to be like a whole
but
hour
about the pictures and stuff, you can just if you want to look at what we look like, please, you can find it on our Instagram, on our Instagram page, or we actually have if you want to scroll along, but in our we have a community post where we actually are wearing our wedding outfits. Actually, if you just scroll all the way down to end of July or start August or something. Yeah. Where do we want to go to the? Where do we? Wow.
Where do we want to go in the future? We talked a little bit about that up top, like our bucket list stuff. So we've talked about Japan, and we've talked about Australia and New Zealand as well as some of like the really high up on the lists.
Talked about Iceland.
And then you have we talked about Iceland as well.
Yeah.
We've been to Iceland, so it's not really on the bucket list anymore, but still like to go back, of course. And then then you have been writing some stuff down. Yeah,
I have never been to New York, and I was just to say that I've seen the giraffe. I would like to go to New York at some point. I would like to go to Seattle or the state of Washington. Once again, I do think I have family there, so I would love to go visit them. I would love to go to Arizona and see Grand Canyon, and I would love to go back to California, of course. And then I would love to go to Italy, just over and over. I would love to live in Italy or have like a summer house or something. I would love to show you Venezia. I would love to go to Rome. I've never been to Rome, so I would love to go to Rome.
Yeah, me neither.
I would love to go to the Alps in summertime. But on where we went in Canacé, around
example,
that area, I would love to go there in summertime as well. And I would love to go and take you to Stockholm. I would love to go to Iceland again. I would never been to Spain.
You haven't?
I have never been to Spain, and I would love to go just once again to say that I've been there. And then I would love to go to France, but of course, again, I would like to see Paris, but I would more likely want to go to the countryside, because I had a friend who went and lived in at the countryside, like a small wine chateau, and it was just his pictures and everything was just amazing, and I would love to experience that.
Several friends who've done the exact same thing as well,
Yeah.
and I remember
So beautiful
seeing
out
a lot
there,
of pictures and yeah.
people are so nice, and
Yeah. I have to admit that for me, like, I know, of course, like, France, like any other country, has all sorts of different types of people, and like, you can have good experiences and you can have bad experiences. Anywhere you go in the world, there's like, good and bad apples everywhere. I've just had one too many bad experiences in France with like the local people wherever I was. It probably also had something to do with like most of the places I went that was on ski vacations with friends and everything, and with the schools, and of course the locals did not really enjoy when the Danes, they were just getting drunk out in the street and causing a little bit of a ruckus and making noise. But I just seldomly had any good experience speaking with any of the locals on any of the resorts I was at, because it just seemed like they were like, we don't want you here. And you can't speak perfect French? Then get the got a Dutch. I even had a pair of skis stolen at one point in Val Thorens, and they would not help me at all. I really, really tried to talk to the police. And then this friend of mine, he came down, because I was down there for like 2 hours trying to talk to them, and they wouldn't help me, they wouldn't budge. And then I went and got one of my friends who spoke fluent French. He talked to them for 5 minutes and it was no problem at all. So I was just like, really, people, really? But yeah, I know, of course, that's just because I've had a few bad experiences there, that I'm a little bit skewed in a certain direction with that, but yeah,
I have met both horrible and wonderful people,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we do have some very amazing and fantastic French friends through the channel, and we love you guys.
Yeah,
it's,
of
it's,
course,
it's
of
definitely
course.
not a general thing.
no, not at
So-
all. I've just been unlucky, and then, as I said, it also made sense because we were young and stupid, and we were making a lot of noise and stuff. So they were rightfully angry.
And then I would love to go to Budapest at some point. What did I write? And maybe a road trip through United Kingdom. Go to Scotland. Go to the northern England, all the way down. Go to Wales again. I have some very wonderful memories from the coast of Wales. This amazing beach that is like hundreds and hundreds of meters long. Wide. And then the
Yep.
water comes all the way up to the like the city gates almost. And we'd love to go there again. I would
So
love
it's
to go
because
to
of the tide, kind of.
yeah,
deal.
it's a tide, and I would love to go to Ireland, all of Ireland, Northern Ireland. There are these huge, beautiful hedges, like a very, like, also a very mystical place with, would love to go there as well.
Yep.
And I would love to go to Bornholm once more, and that's in Denmark, because I thought we could just segue into Denmark.
Okay, I also want to mention some of the places
Yeah,
I want to
sure.
go, of course, and then just I'll quickly mention just for all of you who are joining us, later in during this live stream. If you do want to hear us talk about a specific location or a travel destination, if you want to ask us a question about something, then you can do so over on Streamlabs. The link is down in the description. Just wanted to get that out there so that if you want to steer the conversation in a certain way or in a certain direction, then you are more than welcome to do that. Thanks. And some of the places I want to go, the easy thing for me to say would be, I want to go everywhere I haven't been yet. But of course, you don't know of all the places I've been. But I want to visit way more states in the U.S. Of course, I want to go back and see more of Canada. I've never been to South America. I would love to see South and Central America, all of it as much as I possibly can, and go the places where it's pretty safe. And I would also love to go to somewhere like Alaska, and as we said, Australia, New Zealand. That's a big one. South Africa could be really interesting as well. I would love to see places like India and go some more places in Asia, and as I said, pretty much anywhere I haven't been. And there are still a lot of places I haven't been. That's it from me. And then, as you said, we can segue over into some Danish stuff. Was that,
I would love, once again, I would love to go back to Bornholm. It's a very small island of east of the coast of Denmark. And it's the whole... I don't know what to say, what to explain, but the whole I don't even know what it's called in Danish, but it's the whole nature is kind of different. Geologically, it's different because it's off the rocky sides of Sweden, actually.
Yes.
So the whole underground, the ground texture, whatever, it's so much different than the rest of Denmark. That is either very clayish or very sandy.
Yes, and they actually have something that might resemble not a mountain, but at least
it's like rocky ground.
Yeah, exactly. Something we don't really have in Denmark usually, because it's
and
so
some
flat.
very old ruins and some very cool things around the whole island, and it's just a very nice place, and they talk funny.
Yeah.
It's just, and there's a lot of small hidden gems of Denmark that many people not necessarily know of. I would love to go to the northern of Jylland, because there's also a lot of coastline, and they call it it's like a surfer paradise for some people, and
one of the more interesting places I think I've been here in Denmark. That was also on the coast of the biggest piece of land that's called Jutland, or in Danish Jylland, and that was actually went there to film some low budget movies and stuff, but some of the locations we were using were these old sand dunes with bunkers, World War II bunkers, that you could actually go down into. And I remember falling into a hole down there with water and everything, and I ruined my new phone and and everything. But it's very unique place, very windy, but very unique. And that is at least something that you can see up through the coast of Jutland, are these dunes and the bunkers and everything. And there are some leftover stuff from World War II, for example.
Yeah.
That is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a great area, actually. And I think many people associate Denmark a lot with it's basically just Copenhagen, and it's everything but Copenhagen almost. There's so much of Denmark that most people don't know about.
Sure. So many other countries where you may be only thinking of the big cities or what you see on television or something, and then there are so much more that you maybe don't see. And that's also the places we try to go when we travel ourselves. We try to find some more local nooks and crannies, and not maybe always go to the very touristy places.
But still, I would love to see the touristy places, because they are touristy for a reason.
Yeah, sure, of course.
yeah, and of course I have a very special place in my heart for my home island, and there's a whole sea of tiny islands south of Fyn. That is my native island, and they are amazing, and it's great for summer vacation. So I can definitely recommend that. And of course, all these coastal cities around. It's not even cities because they're not big enough to be cities, but like these towns around all the way around the coastal lines. They are amazing, and especially where I'm from. It's they have like this whole it's like a very old clock tower, and it's from 750 and something. That the whole town actually is older than any cities, and like is older than America, like the United States. It's so funny sometimes that
that is a funny thing to think about sometimes, is, you know, when you just compare like cultures, for example, with the States or something, that's like a very eventful but short history compared to ours, which is like, can trace it like way further back, and you know, because Europe, and we still have, like, we're the longest living, or what do you, like, the monarchs are like the monarchy.
Oh, they are talking about that, but actually, if you look into it, it's actually Japan that has the longest running monarchy.
Ah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
we have the longest running monarchy in Europe, then, I guess.
But I think there's a difference between a monarchy and an empire.
Yes, there are definitely some differences there, I would say. But yeah, even though you basically, it's like one ruler in a sense, but our monarchs, our queen at the moment, it's like, it's not that she decides anything really. She's just a public
She can
figure.
always overrule something like a bill if she doesn't like it, but I don't think she ever done
she won't
that.
do that. No, she won't.
And she's amazing, actually. I really like her. And
Yeah, she's cool.
I'm not a very big fan of like the royal house. No, like
The monarchs.
Yeah, I'm
The
not really.
monarchy.
I'm not a big fan of monarchy, like an institution. But I appreciate what I think they're doing for like the country, and I think they them as people are amazing. But
Yeah. Sorry, there's just a really good quote here from Procrastinosaurus Rex. Europeans think 200 miles is a long distance. Americans think 200 years is a long time, and that's good. That's real good,
It's
actually.
funny, yeah.
Yeah, very appropriate.
yeah.
Yes.
And I think of course, back to the question of where my favorite place in Denmark is, probably at home on the southern of Fyn. It's a wonderful place. I love it. Miss it.
I like being there as well. It's
Yeah,
more peaceful than where I was born, at least. But
people have a different mentality, and it's weird to think of that it's so different.
Yeah.
Because they do have a different mentality, and I can say because I was born and raised there, and I moved to Copenhagen as a 21-year-old, and even though I went to go to Copenhagen or move to Copenhagen for the anonymity, is it called that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still miss back home where you could actually talk to people in the queue in the supermarket,
Yeah, and they
without
wouldn't-
people looking at you like you're a fucking freak or something.
Yeah. That is a thing that people will say is typical for Danes, but it's actually more typical for people living in the big cities, and especially in Copenhagen, that you don't just go up to someone on the street and talk to them.
No.
Like, no one, like, and if you do, like, even if you're trying to be friendly and be like, hey, how you doing? Are you having a good day? And you're just standing at maybe the bus stop or something, and you just want to make conversation, most Danes would be like, why are you, what freak, get away from me, don't talk to me. Most people will be like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that can be, I remember from Canada when I was living there, people are very friendly and very talkative in Canada. So just the first couple of times that happened, that I was just, standing and waiting somewhere outside, and if you're standing still for more than 2 minutes, then most likely someone will walk up to you and just start talking to you and just ask you how you're doing, and they mean it. Like it's like they are actually interested in hearing like if you're having a good day, and they want to like have a conversation. And that was just like, wow, that's a whole other level of like friendliness.
Yeah.
Not that people aren't friendly here. It's just
no. I was just about to say we're actually
reserved.
Incredibly friendly, especially if we if you ask us something, we love to talk to you, and we're very friendly. But
exactly, and
at least some of us, I'd say.
Yeah. Or I would like to think that most people have the ability to be very friendly and will be friendly if you are friendly towards them. I see my mom is saying that yes, we experienced that in Canada. My mom came and or my mother came and visited me at some point when I was up there, and she was very much like, whoa, this is different. This is very, very different from what we're used to, and with people just coming up to you and talking to you. So
and usually, especially when you live on the outskirts of civilization, like I've done for the most of my life, you get a certain feeling of community around where you're living. Like my mom is very involved with people, and so I miss that a lot. I miss actually people actually being there in my life and actually caring. And
yes, and yes, Mom, I remember you visited me when it was my birthday. I remember that.
Yes. And I also, of course, miss speaking my native tongue. I really miss that, because whenever I go, I think you can almost see how I just shift completely, and it's completely
it's an unconscious thing,
involuntary and unconscious,
involuntary
and
thing,
I just switch and I really miss that.
Yes, I know you do,
and I miss my native nationality cake.
We have a lot of that in the kitchen now.
I know.
Anyway, yes, let's have a question here. What's the best way to befriend a Dane? That's very easy.
Get them drunk.
Exactly. Just alcohol.
Yeah.
That'll do it. But I think we are nearing the end of this stream, or at least we don't really have a lot more. Or we could keep talking, of course, but we haven't really prepared anything else. And if you don't have any other questions or anything, if you do have, then please submit them on Streamlabs or something like that. If you want to hear us talk about one last thing in particular or something, but otherwise, I think we're just gonna slowly start to,
Yeah, this one is very fun. Like a dialect thing. If you're
okay. Sarah Male. Sarah Male.
I think she's German, so it's Meile.
Okay.
Right, Meile.
Is asking, can you say the same sentence in your like different dialects? And sure. Do you?
I don't know what to say. What we should. How we should, because of course we can say. I think you should say it, and then I should say it in my native language or my native dialect. But I don't know what we are supposed to say.
Yeah, we can.
It's a classical tongue twister. Okay, sorry.
No. Yeah, do if you have one.
Fem flag fodbold, hvad flag fodbold, hvad? Den kan du godt, ikke?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sonny will say it in normal Danish.
Yes, or in I will do a bit of a character version of I can't say that word. Scratch that. I will do a slightly like cliche Copenhagen accent just to drive it home a little bit more. But what sentence did you flødeboller? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So in a typical Copenhagen accent, it would be this sentence would be 5 flade flødeboller på et fladt flødebollefad. And in her dialect,
5 flade flødeboller på et fladt flødebollefad.
So I don't know if you can hear like a very big difference there, but there is a big difference, and it's one of those like typical tongue twister
If you want the translation.
Yes, caricature. Thank you,
yeah.
Irfan. I just needed to see it spelled out for some reason. My mind was just like doing.
Yeah, and if you want to know what we just said, we said 5 flat. What are those
You can't
called?
even.
It's like
It's,
cream balls.
no,
kind of
don't.
thing.
It's a sort of a day, like it's sort of a snack.
It's like a
Pastry
meringue, non-baked meringue
We're getting out into a
chocolates,
whole.
yeah.
It's a
on a flat.
yes, it's a Danish cake.
Yeah.
Yes, on a flat serving tray.
How can you
5
say that?
flat Danish cakes or 5 flat cakes on a serving tray.
Yeah.
That would be the sentence. Now we've just, I don't know if we've just confused you a lot. But
I think we have, but I don't understand how you think Copenhagen sounds rounder, because we usually say that people say that we
not flan. No, it's not.
in my dialect we usually sing more.
Yes, and typically people would say that your dialect is prettier.
It's yeah.
And mine is very rough, and very much like people from Copenhagen would maybe talk in bursts, like like that. That's a typical sound. Yeah.
Ours would be more fluid and yes, like singing almost.
More singy.
Yeah,
singy.
but also we eat a lot of vowel sounds and consonants.
So
and all
so
that,
they will shorten words, but sometimes also make them way longer, which
it depends.
It depends. For example, like if we're saying just an HD TV, for example.
Yeah.
It's quicker to say.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a classical.
It's a
Danish
classical
joke.
joke on her dialect, but that it is quicker to say high definition television than it is to say
HD TV.
Exactly, because they're stretching out the HD TV a lot, and Sorry, don't know if that was more confusing than
it's
anything
just funny,
else,
and I love I love linguistics, and I think most of you people have noticed by now.
Exactly, and as someone is saying, like all languages have some sort of rhythm to it, and something that makes it unique in different dialects, and it is. I have always found Fyns absolutely repulsive, Jimmy. Aw, but that's that there's a big difference between people. Like it depends on who you are and where you grew up and everything. So
east of the belt. So
I can't hate is such a strong word.
I can't. Except for Bornholmsk, that's very funny.
It can be, and I think about on that note, talking about like Danish dialects and stuff.
East of the belt. Did I say west of the belt? East of the belt.
I think you said east. Either way, on that note, talking about Danish dialects and some Danish travel destinations and some stuff that we can recommend, and we've gone through like where we have been and where we want to go and everything. I think we're gonna end this stream and just say thank you guys so much for joining us once again. It's we're really liking this thing where we're getting into some sort of just a schedule thing where we're doing this like once a week, each Saturday so far, pretty much, except for like one time we did it on a Sunday. I think we moved it, and this one went on for way longer than I thought. Way longer, but that's only a good thing. There was way more to talk about with travels and everything, and we've almost been streaming for 3 hours. But one last thing, the next stream. We haven't really talked about it, but since it's kind of a special date, we could do another one of like a kind of stream that we've done before. Actually, the first kind of live stream we did.
Birthday stream?
A birthday stream, and this time it's not my birthday, of course. It is.
It's my birthday!
Yay! So yeah, next Saturday we're gonna do another birthday stream. So no subject in particular. We just want to celebrate with you guys, and maybe we'll have a few drinks or something. What? Do you have something in mind?
I would love to talk about food.
All right, since of course it is Kat's birthday, then
yeah, exactly. Food.
We're gonna food. Yes, we're gonna be talking about food, and then just celebrating Kat's birthday. next Saturday. So we hope that as many of you as possible want to join us there and celebrate with us and maybe have a drink and everything, like depending on where you are in the world, of course, and like, but as I think it's a saying in like most places, most countries, that it's always, you know, beer o'clock somewhere in the world. So you can always like use that as an excuse, and if you want to use us as an excuse to start drinking early on Saturday, then just do that. But yeah, I think that that's gonna do it. If you don't have anything else you want to add.
No, just thank you. You're awesome, and we are very soon to hit our 20k mark. So
yes,
thank you so much
exactly.
for being so awesome and amazing and supporting us.
Yeah, soon 20k
st-
subscribers on YouTube, and thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the channel, and especially also the people who joined us on Patreon and everything. And we just we love you guys, and we love the fact that you want to spend time with us and want to listen to what we have to say. And
I still don't understand any of what happened the last year or something. But oh, we got a last one.
Oh, we have a last Streamlabs. Okay, so we're gonna end with that. Solo Asta. No question, just a tip. Whenever you come back in France, try the French pastry called Paris-Brest. Paris-Brest or Paris-Brest? I don't know how to, if I'm
Paris-Brest?
Paris-Brest, if I'm
Paris-Brest?
to pronounce it in French. Either way, great live again. Hope your back is better, Cat. Yeah, and love you both. We love you too very much, and we love that you are joining us on these live streams as well. And yeah,
let's talk more about Paris-Brest next time. Yay!
Yes, exactly. Food and birthday,
food and languages, maybe.
Yeah, and celebrations and everything. And yeah, so can't wait to see you in a week or so. And yeah, that's it. That's how we're gonna end this stream. Once again, thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love.